Wow, this thing started going live by accident.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, we're gonna be. Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, let me see it.
It's quite all right.
Huh?
It's gonna be all jacked up on live. You'll be seeing
You'll be laughing.
seeing the conversation before we get started.
Right. Okay, bring it. Let's see.
What do you try to do? We're trying to get things squared away.
Yes. So the camera is up top. Now,
what you trying to do?
I need to be able to put it where it can stand and see you.
Hey, Paul, what's up?
Oh, you still on there?
Huh?
Oh, you can't stop it.
I can, but it's no point. I don't care. It's all right.
I'll just hold it.
It's fine. Yeah. Because this is gonna be a crazy.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to put something in there like skip to the first minute.
Yeah. Huh?
School for y'all.
But I can't see if it's recording you or if it sees you.
I see me.
Oh, okay.
So it's fine.
All right.
I mean, and if it gets too tired for you, just let me know. But all right, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started. I do want to appreciate you guys for inviting me back out once again, and putting up with the fact that I left my tripod. So that's why I got my human tripod over here. As we're going to talk about we're going to do basically a 101 on your third eye chakra. And if you have any questions at any time, just feel free to ask your questions, and I'll try to get those answered. On YouTube, I can't even see what the questions are because you're too far away, but it's all right. So here's the thing. Before the last time I was here, we went through your entire chakras, all 7 chakras, and discussed, what opens them, what blocks them, what they are there for, how they inhibit you, how they help you, those sorts of things. So today we're going to talk about your third eye chakra. So I'm not going to keep you that long, and we're going to start with the basic premise of what the third eye chakra is. And since we've already been over chakras, we're not going to go over the entire aspect of knowing that chakras are, the spinning vortexes. They're the ways, your gateways into bringing in energy and understanding the spiritual realm. But that's from the physical up through the spiritual, up to like other additional dimensional levels. The thing about the third eye chakra, this is like a very pivotal chakra in your life. The most interesting part of it is most people never open. Even those people who claim that they have or claim that they do. This is also the place where most people you have your dreams and you have your heavenly visitations and your spiritual visitations come from. This is why you will see a lot of people online will tell you, don't open your third eye chakra, don't mess with it, be afraid, demons and all kinds of evil things will come at you. It's not so much that demons and evil things will come at you as much as you are just, when and if you open your third eye, you open your consciousness up to another dimensional plane where there does exist other things. So other things doesn't necessarily make it bad. I mean, if you look in the Bible and you read what an angel looks like, it doesn't look like them little fat white babies that they put up on in the chapels in Europe. It doesn't look like the little smiling brown babies that you see at a black church. It doesn't look like any of that description is of a warrior, right? Mm-hmm. So that warrior, which is why every time somebody saw an angel, they got down on their knees, right? That was the story stated. They get down on their knees and they worship them and they fear them, because sometimes when you see something that's unknown to you, see something you're not accustomed to, you become afraid. And when people open their third eye, what they're doing is opening up things that they're not accustomed to, things that are different, things that can make them feel afraid. But I said that people don't necessarily always open their third eye. They might get a little bit. They might see some things, and we see that naturally. So we're going to first look at some of the natural third dimensional human physical form things that we can so that we can understand the basic concept of the third eye. Now, this is not new information. The third eye chakra coming out in today's time is something that has been known for centuries, and probably hundreds of thousands of years prior to that. It's just that with what the information that we have from the Sumerians and the Egyptians and what we have from the Hopi Indians and the Hindus throughout the Indus Valley with the Buddhists and the Hindu. All these cultures understand this third eye. You'll see the Eye of Horus, which represents the third eye. You'll see the dot that a Hindu would put on the head is representing their third eye. You'll see a Buddhist statue has that dot on it represent on the right here in this area, representing the third eye again. Anytime you see a religious figure like a pope, or you go to the Vatican and you see the big pine cones, or you see a big pine cone on the top of the caduceus, is representing the third eye. Right? So cultures have known about this for eons. Now you have to question one thing. The Egyptians did the Eye of Horus to look like the brain and the third eye because they recognized the pineal gland. They opened up the brain, the physical brain, and they saw that this part of the brain looks, and they recognized that it had lenses, that it had pretty much a retina. It looks like your eye. It works the same way as these two eyes. It receives in light and reflects that light, and it utilizes that to open you up. And yes, there are chemicals, natural chemicals that are released in your brain to help you. For instance, melatonin and serotonin is released in your brain from your pineal gland. That release allows your body to regulate your sleep. It allows you to dream. It allows you to come down from the evening. It's the thing that allows you to see light in the darkness. It's also another chemical that is believed to be released from the third eye is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. I'm probably saying that wrong, but it's all right. DMT, we're just gonna call it DMT. DMT is often, when you look at it outside of the human body, is a hallucinogen. It allows your brain to go into a state that it wouldn't normally go into. It allows your subconscious to, take over from the conscious. In South America, there's the ayahuasca plant. And they figured out how to use the ayahuasca plant and another plant so that you can have a DMT, a natural DMT moment that's bigger than what your brain will produce on a normal day. This is what those shamans used in order to get people to be able to find the divine within themselves, find the divine levels of understanding. And one thing that's interesting is that almost every person I've ever seen who went and did that, they all walk away without a fear of death anymore. And I always thought that. I always think that's amazing. But that DMT that's a way outside of your brain. Of course, we can use things like animal scary mushrooms. There's salvia. There are other things that people utilize. The whole LSD movement back in the day was based on opening that third eye. It was based on tripping into a whole new reality. But all of that is coming from the actual concept of your third eye being open. Now, physically, we know that pineal gland has been shrunken over time because we just haven't used it, right? What in the Bible, Old Testament, it says that my people will perish for their lack of vision, right? So that lack of vision is coming from the fact that pineal gland is not working. Jacob wrestled with an angel or God, depending upon your perspective, and until his hip got out of socket. And what did he name that place? He named that spot pineal because he said, I have seen God. Remember that? So there are clues. There are things in literature, regardless of how you feel about the literature, there's clues within the literature that shows you that people of old time understood and knew that there is something in your brain that allows you to be able to connect to the divine. Now, oftentimes people think that they're connecting because they're having all these emotions, and your emotions can assist you in opening your third eye. But the problem with emotions is that emotions can be temporary. Emotions can change easily. The beauty of knowing when your third eye is open is the fact that it does not change. It's impossible to change. But it's scary as all get out. It is very scary for most people if they ever actually open their third eye. So, in today's world, though, we have to learn how to get that open because it's necessary. When Hitler conquered, was persecuted, had his death camps with Jews and gypsies and Africans and anybody who's handicapped, because see, it goes beyond just one group of people. When he had all these people in those camps, One of the things when the Americans and the Allies came in there, they noticed that there were water tanks next to the water tank. There were other tanks, and those tanks had fluoride in them. They asked them, "Why do you have fluoride next to the water that you give to the people interned in these camps?" They said that it keeps them docile. It keeps them from having imagination, having thoughts. They was putting the fluoride, which is a poison, in the water to calcify the pineal gland. A calcified pineal gland won't allow you to have dreams. It won't allow you to meditate and get into a spiritual realm. It won't allow you to think beyond the basic concepts of what's in front of you. And if you can't think of beyond the basic concepts of what's in front of you, your third eye will never, ever, ever open. It will never open. You have to be able to open your mind beyond the basic concept of what's in front of you in order for your third eye to open. So they put fluoride in the water, and the Americans understood this, and they put fluoride in our water. They convinced the Dental Association to add fluoride to everything and say that it's okay. But it's not just fluoride that'll calcify your pineal gland. You can calcify your pineal gland by eating foods that contain pesticides, that contains other chemicals, by eating foods that are just not natural. I'm gonna tell y'all something crazy. So I bought this car, right? And I parked over an anthill. And the young lady I bought the car from had a son. Right? Hadn't cleaned that car out or anything like that yet. Parked the car over an anthill. Didn't realize it. Get in the car the next day, ants all in the car. So I go to clean the car. Now I saw every place in the car where there were ants. But in the compartment behind the passenger seat, there were no ants in there. This is important. There were no ants in there. So when I go to clean the car out, I wash it. I take it through the wash. I'm vacuuming. I got everything out of it. When I go into that portion of the car, the kid done poured like 4 or 5 boxes of animal cookies in that little compartment. And as I was vacuuming it out, because it was like that deep, I realized that the ants they weren't in the animal cookies. They were everywhere else where there was food. Insects go to where there's food, but natural food, right? They didn't eat the animal cookies. They should have been all in the animal cookies. So it made me wonder, what is in these cookies? What are the chemicals that are in these cookies that makes them unnatural? That these cookies are so unnatural that insects won't eat it. A foraging insect, like an ant, won't eat it. So when we put fake food in our system, we are amongst other things, we are calcifying our pineal gland. We're causing our mind to be in a state where we can't connect to our inner divine self. See, I know you might know people who go around and they'll say things like, well, I was praying and God said to me, or I had this moment, this accident, and God said to me. Now the beauty of the accident, though, is that a near-death experience. Guess what gets dropped into your brain? A heavy dose that gets dropped into your brain. DMT. So when people say they had this near-death experience, boom, you got this big load of DMT into their brain, and then they go through this journey, right? And they come back changed. They come back saying, I've seen God. I've seen the angels. I went and I saw my grandmama and granddaddy, and I saw my cousin. But you got to have a near-death experience to overcome the calcification that you had in your brain. But if we want to do that without having to have a near-death experience, then we have to eat better first, drink better, and then learn and learn to open up our minds, open up our brain, so that we can see beyond what's in front of us. So, do we understand the physical aspect of it? Because I don't want to stay there too long, because y'all know I can talk forever. So I don't want to stay there too long. But so that's what we know as the human body right now. We know calcifying it will keep us from being able to have visions. Now, if we're not unable to have visions, just think about it as people, as masses of people. We're unable to see the connection of all the dots. We can't step back and look at the entire puzzle. We know that here's this piece over here that got something to do with the president. Here's this piece that got something to do with another country president. Here's this piece that got to do with schools and education and money, and this part got to do with politics, and this got to do with police, and this is our communities, our churches, our banks, our liquor stores, and everything else. We see all these different pieces, and we think that they're all independent. But by opening your pineal gland, by opening up your third eye, what you get to do is step back and you see how all the pieces fit together. That all of it is one. Remember, the thing that blocks your pineal gland, the thing that blocks your third eye, is the fact that you think that everything is disconnected. You think that you're by yourself in this world. You think that you're not good, that everything that happens is not connected, right? I was talking to somebody the other day, and we was talking about all these storms, right? That's been coming through. He's talking about all the storms, and they were saying how, HARP and CERN is controlling the storms. I don't know about controlling. Maybe augmenting? Controlling? I don't know. But in order to control the direction, the path of one of these hurricanes that naturally every year comes through from the West African coast up through the Caribbean, in order to change that path, you got to control the underwater currents. You have to control the wind currents. You have to control the Gulf Stream. You see, you can't just control the Atlantic currents and the Atlantic wind currents. You got to also get over there and handle the Gulf Streams and El Nino and all them. You have to control a lot of things in order for that hurricane to go in one path, right? So when we look at that, what we're talking about is all these things actually work together to create that direction, to create that path. So your third eye allows you to see how things are connected. Right? Now, for the spiritual aspect of it, and that's what we want to go ahead and get to right now, is the spiritual aspect of your third eye, is how do we open it up so that we can see that connection. And like I said earlier, it can be scary. It can freak you out. Let me just say it will. It will. If you get to this point. Because when we talked about, a few weeks, about a month ago when I was here, and we talked about all your chakras, one thing that we did not talk about is that when you go from your heart chakra to your throat chakra, there's a half step. There's a 90-degree turn that you have to take. When we're going from the physical form into start to work to the spiritual, we have to take a 90-degree turn. We have to kind of open our heart up to such a degree that it changes our life. It changes everything about us. Right? It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. But when we get to that third eye, in order to, there's another 90-degree step. Because when you open your third eye, you're about to go to your crown. So there's another 90-degree turn that you have to make. This means that you have to do something that's just completely different from your current world. And that thing that you have to do is to be open. Is to open yourself up to things beyond what you were taught, beyond what you grew up with, beyond what the TV says, the media says, beyond what the group, the herd is talking about. You have to open yourself up into a state where you can say, I hear this information, I'm going to take it in, I'm going to sift through it, right? It's like I'm panning for gold, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that state of being in gold, right? The alchemist would tell you that the goal of alchemy is to take every thought and take those thoughts from lead to gold, to smelt them in the furnace and then release the impurities. Just like the gold miner would pan, and they would shake out all the loose rocks and shake out the water and the dirt until they get the gold, because that's the only thing you're looking for. So to open up, you have to be open. To open your third eye, you got to be open to bringing in all the information and then panning through it. You have to grab the Bible and sift it, and pan through it, and let the crap fall out and just keep the gold. You get the Bhagavad Gita and you shift it to get the gold. You get the Quran and you get it and you shift it to get the gold. You get all the knowledge, the Egyptian knowledge, the Sumerian knowledge, the Hopi Indian knowledge. You go get the Mayans and the Aztecs. You get all the knowledge, sift through it, and come out with the gold. That's how you open your third eye. And when it's open, that's how it works. It works by sifting through the muck and the mire. Now, I know one of the hard questions is, well, what is the muck and what is the mire? How do you figure, how does that work? It's not easy. Can't give you all the answers to it either. Because, it's a daily journey. I grew up in this country, in the South. So there are a whole bunch of things that I just naturally gravitate towards because of my upbringing. It has nothing to do with religion. Has nothing to, it's just, well, it can, some parts are religious. Some parts are cultural, being in the South. Some parts is being black. Some part is being a man. Some part of it is whatever it is. But we all grow up in different countries, different states, different families. Growing up in your own family, you're going to have different ideas and cultures. So in order to sift it through, two things. It ain't about you. To open up your third eye, you have to realize that for the moment, it's not about you individually as much as it's about the whole. It's about everything around you. It's not about you getting exactly what you want in life. It's not about you having what you want to have in life. I know when you read that story with Jacob, it's like, okay, his whole adventure during that time frame was to go get married and get this one woman, but then he had to get the other woman, and then they had a whole bunch of babies and with the slave babies, and then they, wrestled with God or the angels, called it Pineal, then went back across the river, which going across the river is a whole story. But and then he won't go back and he wants to take Esau's stuff, and they changed his name to Israel. There's a whole lot of stuff all around that. But we don't notice that in the story he named the place Pineal because he saw God. That's the meat of the story that you want to know about. Because when you open that third eye, you get to see divinity. Now and then we can get caught up. Oh, is it God? Is it Yahweh? Is it Jehovah? Is it Allah? Is it Shiva? Who is it? Right? But first you need to see the one inside you. You need to understand the divinity within you, because how are you think you're going to see the divinity outside of yourself if you can't see the one that's inside yourself? If you can't see the one inside yourself, you'll never. I don't care how many people say they get up and they dumping around, dancing around. I don't care how many jackets Benny Hinn start swinging. It don't matter. I don't care how many times you sit in the temple and you meditate and you walk around the temple of Shiva, or you go and you sit in the Buddhist monastery and you meditate. You can do all that. You can sit on top of a mountain in Tibet with a bowl and make your little sounds all you want to. But if you cannot see the divinity within yourself, you will never, ever connect to the outside. Because if you're always just looking for the outside, it won't know you. It won't know you at all. It's impossible. It just won't happen. Because you don't even know yourself. Right? It's like a child that's just lost, walking around in a store. It doesn't know his address. So when somebody says, I want to help you to get you home, can a child help themselves? Can a child get home? A child never get home because it doesn't know where it lives. You got to know your divinity lives inside you first. You understand that divinity inside you, then you can start connecting. Whether you deal with ancestry connections, whether you deal with connecting with with angels, or whatever you want to call it, or nagas, whatever your terminology, until you start connecting here first and here, you won't get there. All right, the crown, you will never touch the crown, and most people never do. They think they do, but they don't. So how do we open this up? How do we allow ourselves to be free? That is the $1 million question. Now, I'm going to be somewhat general in what you can do, but it really does come down to you as an individual person. I can just give you the short answer and just say, make a dang on decision. Just decide. Just decide that you're going to be open. That when I was 9 years old and I started my journey, one of the first things I learned, it probably took me about a year to fully conceptualize this from 9 to 10. So I was a kid. But from 9 to 10 to fully conceptualize, I want to know what the information is. I'm not concerned about the landing point. You understand what I'm saying with that? I want to know what the information is, but I'm not concerned about the landing point. This is what that looks like. This is what it doesn't look like. I'm Christian. I want to study the history of Christianity. I'm going to read what this scholar wrote, because this scholar is Christian, and I know he wrote to prove Christianity. I know this scholar is Christian, so and he talked about Josephus Ben Mathieu, and I know that this scholar is Christian, and his take on Josephus is all Christian based. So I want to follow him. Right? I don't want to read that guy. That guy right there is not Christian, and he's anti-Christian, and I don't want to read his information because I know where it's going to land. Well, you're not doing scholarly work. That's not scholarly work. I already have my landing point. I've already made up my mind what the answer is. So I'm just reading to confirm the answer I've already decided that I'm going to have. Scholarly work, or not having a landing point, is to say that I want the information. I'll listen to that person. I just want to know the information. Now, I understand this person is Christian. They're going to have a bias, but let me see what I can get from them. This person is anti-Christian, but they might be that they're biased, but let me see what I can get from them. Let me try to find out as much as I possibly can. Hey, how about it? Here's this. If I want to understand Joseph Ben Mathieu, why don't I just go read his material? of what he actually wrote. That's novel. Instead of reading somebody else's opinion of somebody, go read what the actual person wrote, and then understand that person, so that when you do come to the controversies of, is this part authentic, is that part authentic, you know what, you understand the person who actually wrote it, so then you can determine. But you determine for yourself. You determine it for yourself. And that's the same. You could be, I've talked to brothers who are Muslim. You talk about the history of Islam, they got a landing point already. So it's a pointless discussion, because they already know. It doesn't. I can tell them all about Abdul Malik. Doesn't matter to them. Doesn't matter about his political agenda. Doesn't matter about any of those things. The only thing doesn't matter that how they smelted the coins to put Muhammad and Allah's name on it, so that people will believe in the fact that we are conquering in this name. Doesn't matter. They can't see beyond the political handlings and wranglings, because they are so focused on, I got to land where I already am. So to open your third eye, you have to be willing to look at things without a landing point already, without already made a decision. Your only decision is, I just want to know what is truth, what is reality, what are the connections and what are the disconnects. How are all things connected? How are all things, how all things come together so that I can move forward in that. This is one of the reasons why I love the what people call the law of attraction, but the entirety of it is the Hermetic laws or the natural laws, is because it doesn't care. It doesn't care what your religious background is. It doesn't care what your national background, your racial background, your gender background. It doesn't care about any of those things. It just says that if you vibrate on a lower plane, you will get the lower result. If you vibrate on a higher plane, you will get a higher result. Now, when you're talking about chakra, if your chakras are spinning fast, or are your chakras spinning slow? Are they spinning too fast? Or are they spinning too slow? Because based on the spin is what you're going to get. So if your third eye is mostly calcified, if your third eye is not open to new information and is not open to sift through information, then you're going to get minimal output. It's kind of like, so, I own a gourmet popcorn ice cream shop, right? And I was in one location. They already had the plug that I needed. I plugged my machine in. It works. But it was taking like an hour to make a batch of caramel, right? So then about a year later, I had my electrician in there, and he's doing some work, and he happened to look up, and he's in the walls, and he sees that the wiring that was going to this plug was low voltage. It wasn't the right voltage for the plug, but it was low, so it still worked. And he changed it all out. What took me an hour to make now takes me 30 minutes. Simply because he put the right voltage in, he put the right amount of juice, was able to flow. So when you get the right amount of mindset decision, your third eye energy can flow then. It can be open. You can then see things. You can connect to things. And yeah, it'll be a little scary. It'll be a little scary, but you'll be all right. So the first thing we got to do is make a decision. Make a decision that you want to open it up. Make a decision that where it takes you is where it takes you. But I'm not going to be afraid. You cannot be afraid. Because you have to realize that nothing can hurt you unless you allow it to hurt you. Right? You know how we get in relationships and then we like, oh, he hurt me, she hurt me. No, they couldn't hurt you unless you allowed it. You put yourself in a position to be hurt. You saw it coming, but you kept staying right there for it to happen. It was like you see the train, it ain't here yet, but you still just standing on the track. And you never get out of the way. If you never get out of the way, what's going to happen? You're going to get run over. Exactly. So when you see it coming, you see the lights, you hit a horn, you see the bridge, the ding, 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 the things, get off the track, move. Now, it's best to get off track early, but get off the track. So things can't hurt you unless you allow it. In the spirit realm, things can't hurt you unless you allow it, right? I mean, everybody, you go to every religion, they talk about you got all this power and you got all this connection. I mean, if you connected on high like that, then why stuff hurting you? Right? Why are you going through all this? Unless you allow it. Somehow, some form, some fashion, you allow it. But So we have to recognize that fear. Remember I told you, fear is that negative portion of your brain. Right? That's in my understanding, that's what the devil is, the negative portion of your brain. So that's fear. It uses fear will keep you captivated. Fear will keep you from opening your third eye. Fear is the reason why people make videos like, don't open it. Oh my gosh, don't open it. Now, why would you not want people to have vision? Why would you not want people to be able to see things for how they are? I mean, because when people can do that, doesn't that make the world better? Unless you're the person in power that want to keep people down, then it doesn't make the world better. But that vision does things for you. I mean, how did a guy say, you know what, I want to talk to people on the other side of the country, and they ain't in here, and they're going to be real-time conversation. You know they probably thought Alexander Graham Bell was a nut job for thinking, how you can't do that. All throughout history, man has just figured out, man want to fly. Da Vinci created all kind of contraptions to fly. Helicopter-looking contraption, airplane, wing, all kind of stuff, want to fly. They thought he was crazy too. They thought the Wright brothers was crazy. They were bicycle builders. How is a bicycle builder going to build an airplane? Vision. You got to have vision. You got to see things beyond what's in front of you. So the other thing to open up your third eye is meditation. Meditation will help you to be able to see things, give you clarity, so that you can see things that's not present yet. You can see things that don't necessarily exist. You know, the first law of the Hermetics is mentalism, meaning that your thoughts create. You have to think a thing before a thing happens. So something got to be working in here that allows you to think a thing, right? But the beauty of a third eye goes beyond the mind. See, the mind can do many, many wonderful things, but the third eye opens up a whole dimensional level of things. And that's the part that we're trying to open here. We're trying to open up the part that allows you to see how the entire universe works. I like trees. I like trees. Trees are one of my favorites. Let me ask you a question. Who made it? If you ask a tree, if a tree could speak, and you say, hey tree, think the tree would answer if you called a tree? Probably wouldn't. Why would a tree call itself a tree? A tree wouldn't create that label for itself. It just is, right? The tree just is. An oak tree is an oak tree. An apple tree is an apple tree. An orange tree is an orange tree. A pear tree is a pear tree. They just are. They don't walk around saying that I'm a pear tree. They just know that this is the fruit that I produce, because they are just being. If we could connect with the consciousness of a tree, because I don't know, maybe a tree does have a consciousness. I don't know. I don't think they do, but I know they exist. I know they have energy. I know that I've seen studies where plants feel danger. They feel the level of that. We don't know yet. Haven't figured it out. Call it magic, call it science, call it crazy, don't know. But what you can call it is, scientifically, they've shown the same things that we show as fear. Plants have shown the same things. So whatever the level of consciousness of a tree, if you was able to connect with it and you start calling it a tree is not going to call itself a tree. The tree doesn't define itself. So you have to become undefined. You have to think of yourself beyond just this, how much melanin is in your skin, if you're male or female. You know, sometimes when I'm talking to people, I'll tell them, I say, I got to awaken to God, and God is inside me. A lot of guys think that, man, how you going to say you got a goddess inside you? That ain't masculine. You got to be in a state where, I don't care what you think, dude. And what you think doesn't define me. Your label will never define me. Your own label can't define you, and somebody else's label definitely can't define you. So you have to be able to just know that you just are. You just exist. This is why Moses, when he was on the mountain, he just said, I am. He didn't give a name. He said, my name is Jehovah, my name is Jesus, my name is Buddha, my name is, Shikta. He didn't say nothing like that. He didn't say my name Atticus or Dionysius. Nothing. He didn't say my name is Horus, my name is Amun Ra. He didn't say nothing. He said, I am. I just exist. I'm just here. I'm just present. I just be. So you just have to first understand, you just have to come into a being, a state of being. Understand that when you come into a state of being like a tree, then you do what a tree does. Does a tree hold back what it produces? Right? Like an orange tree. Every season. If it can produce oranges, will it produce oranges?
Yeah.
It's going to produce oranges, right?
Yeah.
Now, does the orange tree say, well, you know, I'm feeling kind of lazy this year, I think I'm just going to make 12 of them? No. It produces as many oranges as it can possibly produce. You have to produce as much abundance as you can. This thing, this idea, this humility of, oh, I only need to produce enough of what I need, or what? No, you produce as much as your talents allow you to produce. If you can produce $1 million, produce $1 million. If you can produce 100,000, produce 100,000. If all you can produce is $10, then man, that's all you can. That's sad, but that's all you can produce is $10. But you produce what you can produce. If you can produce love towards people, then produce more love. If you can produce, you know, protection, produce protection. It's not always just something material. It could be things that are, you know, impact. If you can produce concern and consideration for people, if that's your gift, if you have that in you, then do it. I did a strength test once, and empathy, not really strong in that one. Empathy and sympathy didn't come up on my. It made me feel so. I felt bad that empathy and sympathy didn't come up. So it's something that I've been working on. I'm working on it. I mean, well, this is years ago, so I'm better. But a tree produces as much as it can produce. But an orange tree doesn't produce apples. It never will. An orange tree will never produce an apple. The day you find an orange tree that produces an apple, you let me know, because that's a miracle tree right there. That don't happen. Now, my father, he's left this consciousness right now. He's not in this consciousness. He one time planted a lemon seed next to a orange seed, and the tree grew together, and it was the sourest oranges I've ever seen in my life. But that's but that's melding some things together. I just want to throw that one in there just to mess around. But fact of the matter is, every tree is going to produce what it's designed to produce. All right, you're designed to produce something. So whatever you're designed to produce, produce it. All right, stop trying to produce what other people produce. Stop trying to be like other people. That's another key to opening your third eye. You can only be you. See, in your being, just be you. Right? And love it. You gotta love it. You gotta do it and not care what other people think. I was at an event last night, and one of the people that I met there, we was talking about how people deal with relations, and of course she was like, you know, I'm of a certain age. I ain't gonna tell you what her age was, but her mindset was, I ain't gonna tell you what she was saying. I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that, and I love me for it, and if somebody else don't like it, they can keep moving. Now what if it was like that at all times? You are who you are. You do what you do. You know, if you like going out and shooting things at the gun range, go shoot things at the gun range. If other people don't like it, that's their problem. Right? If you like going to drive cars fast, go drive cars fast. If you like buying expensive cars, go buy your expensive car. If you like, this is probably detrimental to every man in the world. But ladies, if you like buying shoes all the time, if you got a big shoe budget, go buy your shoes. And don't worry about what other people think about your shoe closet. If you got a whole closet, just shoes, and you love it, and you like it, and you wear those shoes, who's that lady, Mel DeMarco, back in the day? She never wore the same pair of shoes twice. If that's her, that's her. Now I understand her people were starving, but have some level of consideration. But the fact of the matter, if that's your thing, because for me, the money I'll spend on an experience compared to the money I spend on where I live is totally different, completely different. I'll spend way more money on an experience than I spend on where I live. If I needed some furniture, but I can go on a trip and go visit something and study something, guess where I'm going? I'm studying something. I'm going to visit something. I'm good. When I was 20, I had bean bags and what them things called, TV trays. That was it. And if you came over my house, I would tell you, hey, I was married at that time. We got 2 plates, 2 knives, 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 glasses. Guess what you need to bring when you come to my house for dinner? your plates, your cups. But I didn't, and you know what? I did not care if anybody thought anything about it. It didn't bother me. You got to get to that state of not caring and say that it doesn't matter what other people think about how I live my life. If you go and sit in the middle of downtown Atlanta and Centennial Park or wherever you live, and you sit in the middle of all the chaos or all the people are in the middle of a concert and you want to meditate because that's your spot and that's what you want to do right then, and you do it, and if people are walking by and they got something to say, so let it go. You driving down the street with your little road rage selves and somebody cut you off, let it go. Why carry that energy? Why carry that negativity? Let it go. Sing the Frozen song, let it go. But just let it go. Because all you do is damaging yourself, and you're keeping your ability to open your pineal gland. You're damaging that ability. Now, I say you got, so meditation. Meditation is a great thing. There's a tapping meditation that you can do as well. And if you want to work on it, I mean, it's simple. Just tap this area right here. That's all you do. Just tap it before you get ready to meditate. And if you're in your meditation, you keep getting lost because look, it's very difficult to keep the same thought in your brain. So you might have to go back and tap it some more. That tapping has shown to release some chemicals in your brain, like your serotonin, to be able to, get into that mode. You also tap the back of your ear as well, do the same thing. But back of your ear also can release melatonin, which can make you go to sleep. So you can, and if you're insomnia, tap back there for a while before you go to sleep. You'll sleep better. That's why you go to some places, they'll tell you to put like lavender oil right here on the back of your ear and all that, so it can release the melatonin in your brain so you can sleep better. Yeah, see, learn something every day. I just learned that like 6 months ago, so I didn't know it just 6 months ago. Now I know. But so anyway, so open that. So we gotta make the decision, not have a landing point. We want to meditate and not care about what other people think about us in our life. We already said we got to eat better as well, eat better and drink better, so that we can open these, open it up, right? Open up our third eye. The next thing is acceptance, right? Now I know I said don't be afraid, don't be in fear of whatever comes to you, but then accept it. That is probably the hardest part of opening up your third eye, is the acceptance of what you've been shown. If as it starts to open, you start to see things. Can you accept what you see? Can you say that I don't like what I saw, but it's what you saw? I don't like the path that it's moving me in right now, but it's the path that it told you to take. What I'm doing right now, I knew 30 years ago. It told me to go that way. I went this way. It then told me to go that way. I turned around and went that way. I did not want to stand in front of no one and tell y'all anything. This was all for me. This is all so that I can just have like these moments in my life. This is also that I can elevate my, consciousness, so I can elevate my, my kid when I was younger, thinking before I had kids, elevate them so that they grow up consciously with critical thinking and just, seeing things exactly what they are and how they are and not worrying about other people. This was all just for me. It wasn't for y'all. Well, I mean, it might have been for y'all. It just wasn't for me to give it to you. It wasn't for me to talk to you about it. I didn't want to. Seriously. I didn't want to accept it. Didn't want to. And it didn't matter how many times, I just never wanted to accept it. This part. Now, there were some other parts. Oh, I accepted all of that. But I got to tell you that my third eye was always, what's the word? Somewhat blocked, somewhat dammed up. Only releasing enough, so that the pressure doesn't blow it. Because I didn't want to follow this part of the path. There's even levels of it. When I first, and I'm going to say this to him tonight, when I first did a video about Kevin Wesley, I struggled for like 3 weeks to do that video. I was not going to do that video. I was like, I don't want to do it. Then I thought, negotiating with myself, nobody's gonna see it. I only have 30 subscribers. Nobody's gonna see it. I'm not gonna put any tags on it. Nobody's gonna see it. So no big deal. I'll do the video. Okay, all right. I hear you. I'm gonna go ahead and do the video. Anybody gonna see it? And I got away with it. I got away with the first one. Sure did. Did it. You know, a lot of people start seeing it, but, you know, not too much hate. Then I did another one. Thinking that, oh, well, I got away with the first one. Yeah, some people were watching it, but they still putting all the emphasis over there, so I'm good. So I did the next one, and all of a sudden, it is not so much the hate that I started receiving, as much as the love that I started receiving, as much as the people who were out there feeling like they were disconnected, the people who felt like they were out there alone, the people who said that, you know, I used to believe this, you know, I grew up in a house that was Nation of Islam. I grew up in a house that was Pentecostal. I grew up in a house that was Catholic. I grew up in a house that was Buddhist. I grew up in all these, you know, all these different houses that they was telling me that they grew up in, but they knew that there was more. They knew that the information wasn't steered towards just you developing your consciousness, but maintaining a level of control. I knew that some of this wasn't right. And they started thanking me for the fact that I started presenting information. Because if you go to the videos that I was doing beforehand, I did some videos. I ain't do a lot of them. I did a lot of stupid videos. I did a lot of movie reviews and things like that. And business. I talked about business more than anything else. But I started seeing people who also needed that encouragement. People who also needed that knowledge that they're not out there by themselves, because that's what your third eye is telling you. You're not out here by yourself. So I had to accept what it was telling me so that other people and myself can know I'm not out there by myself. When I was growing up, it was just me and one dude in my community that was saying the things that I'm saying today. And we were both called every name in the book. Growing up in the South, called every name in the book. But as technology has connected everyone, you can think about your third eye like the internet. It's connected everybody. You can't hide information anymore, really. You know, I did a video some time ago, and in that video I was telling pastors that you're going to lose your congregation if you don't start teaching people the right information, because there's such an abundance of opportunity for people to be able to hear things that go outside of what you've been told and taught your entire life. So when they come to you and they say, well, hey, this is their home, this is the homework for this night. Y'all can find it. So when they come and they say, hey, I seen this information. What does it mean? And I noticed that Jacob named the place Pineal. I noticed that it says that our lack of vision, but this thing is talking about all that stuff, but it's a little different. It's talking about chakras, right? What's their answer? They got to have an answer for it. Because when they don't have an answer for it, their people are going to gravitate, they're going to move away. You know, we had a family event yesterday. So I got another opportunity to see my family that I get to see, you know, in big events and everything. And so many of the younger ones, they're moving away. They're saying that, wait, there's more. This same information is just not working for me. The same information, there's a lot of holes in it. So, yeah, third eye allows you to see that, but it's like the internet. It allows you to see those holes. It allows you to see the gaps, the disconnects. And it says that, hey, there's more to it than just saying, oh, just accept what I told you and just believe in it, and you're good. You know, you're good. I had a cousin who is, he's an adult now, he's in the Navy, stationed in Hawaii. And I had no idea this boy been listening to all my videos. Had no idea. And he been sharing them with all his little military friends. Had no idea. So you don't know how well connected you are, right? And your third eye is helping you to connect. It helps you to connect. And another aspect of it helps you to connect to people's energy. Everybody pretty much have experienced an opportunity when they meet somebody and just, I like that person. Or, I don't know, they get down next door. But, sorry. Sorry about that. I don't know if the people on the video can hear next door, but they get down next door. I'll check the comments later. They get down next door. But, let me lose my train of thought. So they watching everything. So you feel somebody's energy. You feel that connection with people. Or you come up to somebody and you know that I know I can't really talk to you. I can't tell you everything that's going on because you You got something about you. There's something you holding on to. Like I'll be in the chat, even, and you'll be able to, when your third eye's open, you'll be able to even see this when people write stuff, right? Like people are writing things to me in comments, and I'll get in there like, dude, your reason for writing has absolutely nothing to do with learning anything from me. You're just trying to figure out your argument. You're just trying to get some ammunition, or you're just trying to figure out some way that you can glorify yourself. You're not here. You're not trying to have a conversation with me because you want to understand more of what I know and teach. No. So, but you start to feel that. You start to be able to see through people and see and understand people and how that's what they're doing. You know, that's what their real agenda is. You start to go to work and you see people's real agenda at work. You know, this person, they're smiling in your face. You know, we've always experienced that person who's smiling in your face, and then when negative things happen to you at work, they're the main one just, you know, twisting that knife in your back and still smiling at you though.
Right.
They like reaching behind you, smiling at you in your face, and they just twisting that thing. You know, you start to be able to identify those kind of people. You know, in your dating life, right? I was horrible, right? Horrible at identifying if somebody is good for me or not. Horrible. Still getting better at it, but I'm a lot better now than I was, say, 3 years ago. No, I'm gonna go back and forth. Say like 10 years ago. A lot better at it now. But that opening, by allowing and accepting my third eye, I can recognize that better. And you can also recognize what people are in your life for. There are some people you'll come in contact with, and it may be romantic, it may be friends, it may be business, and you'll know, here's this person. We're only going to be together for maybe a year. We're only going to be together for maybe 2-3 years. This person and we are going to serve each other in this format because you can see everything now. Everything's connected. You see how it is. You see how it's working. You know, that's the danger that those in power see about having that third eye open and available. So, just to recap a little bit, we know that the third eye is relatable to the pineal gland in your brain. We understand that it releases certain chemicals in your brain that allows you to astral travel or lucid dreams, or you guys know lucid dreaming? Mm-hmm. All right. So just to tell you, a lucid dream. You ever had one of them dreams where you don't like the way the dream is going, so you can rewind it and start over, and you can change everything? Or you having one of those dreams where you know you're dreaming, and you see something happening, and you can decide to change it right then in the dream? Those are lucid dreams, where you know you're dreaming and you can control the dream, right? Mm-hmm. And some people do that. There are ways to do that on purpose for spiritual reasons, to get answers and things like that. So those are lucid dreams. Astral is when you know how people say they was in the hospital and they had the near death and they came out of their body and they can see everybody operating on them and all that kind of stuff. Those are astral projections. But when you understand how to open your third eye, that's something that can happen. And if you really, and it takes time now. You don't think that, I heard Coach Renz today talking about third eye, and tomorrow I'm going to have an astral projection dream. I'm going to the future. I'm going to see them lottery Powerball numbers, and I'm going to come back. That's the plan. It takes time and dedication and opening up your brain, opening up your mindset, your consciousness to be able to really push yourself into those kinds of realm and understand. If you saw the movie Doctor Strange, you got something?
Yes.
When she thumped him on his forehead and he went outside of his body, you know, that's the astral projection. Or when he was getting operated on, he came in and scared the heck out of a girl, he was in an astral form. But if you recall, there was a part of the movie where he was like, teach me. And, it was later. And when he came inside, he was like, how do I get from here to there? Right? So basically he was asking the lady, the ancient one, how do I get from where I am today to where you are? And she said the same way you became a doctor, a neurosurgeon, through years of study and practice. So you got to study and you have to practice to be able to open up your mind. Even to change your diet, drinking water that does not have fluoride in it, you have to be attentive to it. You have to train yourself and get into a habit. Because when I first started not drinking water that had fluoride, I would walk up to a water fountain and then, God dog it, I ain't supposed to drink that water, you know. because it was a habit. If you see a water fountain, you go get some water. Especially when you're in the gym, you see a water fountain, you go get it. You fill your water bottle up with that water, and then you're putting that nasty water in your water bottle. But you know, you have to train yourself. Change your food habits. Train yourself to meditate. People get frustrated with meditating because, like, well, I try to meditate and it only lasts, like, I can't stay focused. Well, you just got started. I mean, baby didn't pop out the womb and just start walking and talking and went to work. No, it don't work that way. It's a training process. You know, so you gotta learn. You gotta learn. Get from here to there. You gotta learn. You gotta study. You gotta practice. You know, you have to. I've tried to go vegan about 11 times. It ain't took yet. Now I've done pretty well this time. Done pretty well. 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, about 2 weeks. And it's encouraging. Lost 8 pounds. I'm encouraged. You know, it's encouraging. You start, and that's why the reason why I was saying that is because as you start getting results, it'll encourage you to continue. So when you start meditating, maybe you can only hold an individual thought for 3 seconds. Well, next time try to hold it for 6 seconds, and then try to hold it for 12 seconds. Abraham Hicks talks about this, like going 17 seconds and then going, 34 seconds and then, 68 seconds. That you train yourself how to meditate by just saying, look, however long I can maintain that initial thought, that's how long I'm going to maintain. However long I can sit still, that's however long I can sit still. However long I can listen to these little twinkly tones in my ear, that's how long I can listen to these twinkly tones in my ear. But however the time frame is, just keep working on it. I have a friend, she is horrible. I'm going to tell you right now. Matter of fact, Karen is horrible. Because when I first started making videos, if my video was more than 8 minutes long, she was not listening to it. Right? Actually, no, when I first started, if it was more than 4 minutes long, she was not listening to it. But over the last 6 years, I've trained her. We up to 12 minutes. I can get on a 12 minute right now. Can't get her past a 12 minute. I can get her to a 12 minute. But you got to train it. It's practice. You got to keep practicing. You got to keep on, meditating. Keep eating right. Keep exercising, so that you get the impurities out of your body. Continue to study. Some people ask, like, when I'm talking about historical things, they're like, how can you just run these, how can you just sit here and just say that, well, Constantine and Vespasian and Titus and Josephus and Philo and Princess Beatrice and, Akhenaten and the Tat Brotherhood, and how can you just roll this stuff off? And because I've studied the same information 11 times over, right? I have listened to some of the same YouTube videos about 30 or 40 times. I've read the same books about 3, 4, 5 times. You keep going over and over it until it becomes a part of you. Once it becomes a part of you, then you can. It's just, and it allows you to step back. You learn more because, okay, I've learned this part. Like, if I was just doing, okay, so I know the third eye. That's vision. That's pineal gland. That's it's blocked by illusion. It's about being disconnected. The source, connects us to source, right? And I know I sit to meditate, and I know I say ooh when I'm meditating. Those are the sounds, and I know the color is purple, right? So you know that, right? But then you start getting into the deeper understandings of it, and start realizing that, well, if time is a loop, if time is a river that bends, and you have a soul, and your soul exists throughout all time, then that means that if I can connect to source, that I can bend and fold the time to connect to my soul at a different point of its existence. And when I connect to that soul at that different point of existence, I can learn something from it at this state that I can bring to my current state today, so that maybe I don't have to go through some of the struggles that I know that I'm about to go through in my time. Right? Mm-hmm. So if I can connect to myself, and then sometimes we easily do that when it comes to memory. I remember when I was like, killing it with my finances. Let me go back and start doing those things I was doing back then, right? But let's say you've been sucking at relationships. You're just horrible. You're the worst person. You ain't never had a good relationship. But you have a vision You get into your third eye, you get into your meditation, you have a vision, you see yourself, 20 years from now, you're in the best relationship you ever been in your life, filled with love and peace and abundance, and y'all just, it's just on point. And you looking at her, but it's not so much you looking at her or him, sorry, I'm a dude. But you're looking, and I used to just focus on the person I saw, right? But then I started realizing, let me look at everything around that state of being. Let me look at where we are, what we're doing, how we're dressed, what is my attitude, how do I treat her, how does she treat me, who are the people around me. I started looking at all that stuff, and by looking at all that, I started to say, okay, well, there is nothing I'm doing today that's going to get me to that point. I don't want to go through any pains and struggle. I don't want to go through this time frame in order to get to that point, right? So let me start doing it today. Let me skip ahead. See, when your third eye is open and you understand the connection, that another level of it is, it comes to that point of time travel through your vision, right? Because I know the point. I know the future point for me in that state. I mean, that what I was telling you is a real thing for me. I've seen that in a vision in 2009. Was it? Yeah, it was 2009. Yeah, 2009. And guess what? I ignored the heck out of it. I did. I just expected, oh, is that what the vision is? The person just gonna walk in my life. I'm good. And then when I married somebody who looked totally different from the person, everything around me was totally opposite of what I knew was coming. There was a part of me, and this is so wrong, and I apologize, I'm so sorry. This is so wrong. I knew that this is only temporary, because this ain't the one I see in my vision. And I started making excuses for it. I said, well, maybe she ain't physically like that person, but the personality, maybe it's the personality that, missing some stuff. Nah, the vision showed me what it was in the future. The future is just the future's reality. So I just need to do that. Right? Just do that. Do the things that's gonna get me there. I don't know why we was in Memphis, but I'm glad we was just visiting, because I don't want to live in Memphis. Nothing against anybody who lives in Memphis. It's just not a place I want to live. But I'm glad in the vision we were just visiting. That's why I tell my daughter, you need to start working for me, because she worked for me in the vision, so I need her to start working for me. There's a bunch of other things that I'm not telling y'all, because it ain't none of y'all business. But I started doing things after I extricated myself out of my previous situation. I started doing things, and I currently do things that will facilitate that vision, right? Because now that my third eye has given it to me, let me start moving in the direction to make it happen sooner, right? Why do I gotta wait? Because if I do, and if I keep resisting it, then that future point moves, right? It flows down the river, and I'm never gonna catch it, right? So I need to get there. So opening your third eye, what I'm saying, and all of that is to say that you get into deeper understanding of things. So you'll read, how people say they'll read their holy book, and then they keep rereading it because they keep getting something new. That concept. But in this instance, you're gonna get something real new and real good for you. Something that's like unfeathered by your landing point. Because remember, you can't research with a landing point. Like even when I research today, even though I am like completely, hermetic alchemist and magician, I'll go ahead and say that one, so it's gonna scare the heck out of everybody. I am still very open to the fact that there's something else beyond what I think right now, and that my understanding of alchemy may be baby steps, right? Where I think that I'm a teenager in alchemy, it might be baby steps. Where I think that in the hermetics, that I might be, old man master, I might still be on baby steps. That there are another levels of things that are beyond where I currently am on my thinking. That's why I always like to tell people, I say, like, there are things I said 20 years ago that I'm saying completely opposite today, right? And there may be certain things, you never know what you may discover, when your third eye opens, right? That 20 years from now, you say things differently, you think things differently than you think it today, right? Things a little bit different. I'm going to tell you, traveling helps you to do that. it's one thing to read about the pyramids. It's a whole other thing to go see them.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to read about the old walls in Jerusalem, and it's a whole other thing to go see it. Like, I grew up thinking that the house that Mary and Joseph, that they was looking for a hotel room. I didn't know they were just going to Joseph's family house. And the upstairs part is called the inn, and the downstairs part was the basement. So that she had to go, so if you go by the story, she had to go to the basement. It wasn't running around the street, help us. And people shutting their doors and being mean to them. Totally different. You go over there, you see it, you say, oh, it's the part of the house where they live. That's the basement. So she had to go have a baby in the basement. Well, why did they have to go have a baby in the basement? Well, according to the Jewish law back then, any room that you have a baby in is unclean for 8 days, and anybody in that room, they are unclean for 8 days. Since Nero was it Nero or Augustus? Augustus Caesar was calling for a census. Everybody had to show up. So imagine having a big old family reunion, house full, got 15 people in the house. You only got 3 bedrooms, and you supposed to get a room by yourself so you can have this baby. I need you to go in the basement, darling. All right, because you were in-law anyway, so you need to go into the basement. No, that's wrong. You got to go into the basement and have this baby. All right. So it's like, oh wait, there's a lot more to this story that I didn't know nor understood. And so now, what's the analogy that I can learn from it? And opening your third eye allows you to start seeing things clearly like that, right? Oh shoot, there's a lot more to this. Let me learn. Let me understand. Let me understand that in Isaiah when they said a virgin will give birth, oh, that's a mistranslation. That word don't mean virgin. That word actually means young lady who hasn't had a child yet. Doesn't mean she ain't had sex, nor is she married. It just means a young lady who hasn't had a child. That's what that word meant in Aramaic and Hebrew. The Greek mistranslated it into the word virgin. So it was like, oh, okay, so then the Matthew and Luke part, they got a mistranslation of what the virgin is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, you got astrologically with Virgo, which is also called the virgin. So, your third eye starts to help you to see things like that. You know what I'm saying? Helps you to open up. I would say like Lao Tzu had a third eye awakening, because Lao Tzu said, I studied, well, let me go back. First you got Hinduism, right? And then, so Dr. Gupta, he was like, yeah, I get it, but there's more. So he goes out, he does all his aesthetic stuff, starves himself, punishes himself, do all that. But then he sits on the Bodhi tree and the little girl give him some food. She don't have much, but she give him food. She shares what she has. And all of a sudden he comes to his realizations, right? His third eye opens, he gains the Buddha head. So now, Buddhism. Lao Tzu says, study the Hindu, study the Buddhist. But then I understand that there is a certain way that you should be. There's a certain way that the creation works, that the creator moves, that there's a certain way existence is. And so he creates the Tao, because he had another level of third eye awakening. So Hindu, Buddhist, the Tao, awakening. Because the Hindus, you come from, and I can go into the Aryans, and we can go into the Sumerians, and the Egyptians, and the Anunnaki. To get to the Hindu, we have to go all the way back to them, but we ain't doing all that. But it's all a trail of constant awakening. So that's what I mean by you have to be able to accept it, that what you think today, you may have another level of an awakening later. And as you continue to grow, your awakenings will continue to grow, right? You will. And sometimes it'll scare you, because some things that you have emotions and feelings for now, you won't have them then. Certain things can happen. You could lose certain people. You won't have that. The emotions and feelings of loss that you had before, you won't have that loss, because you know all things are connected, and their essence is not going anywhere. Over there. They're over there, and you'll get to them. You'll see them later. Or it doesn't even have to be like, what we call death here on Earth. It could be just you lose a friendship. I lost a friendship that I had that I thought, that's my boy. Friendship never gonna end. We good. We tight. Had one major issue that didn't even involve him, and friendship broken. Right? Now, when that happened previously, some years before with another guy, I was devastated. Like, that was my boy. I can't believe he did me like that. I'm hurt, frustrated, I'm mad. I ain't trusting nobody else. I was pissed. you have awakenings after awakenings, and it's like, it's just a cycle. It just happens. It's things that happen. Life, death, loved ones, just things that happen. I had a gentleman come into my store. He's a Christian guy. He was stranded. I helped him out, but he was like, I gotta come back and work for you because I gotta get my self-respect back. I was like, oh, you never lost your self-respect unless you give it away. You know, you just think differently at that.
Right.
Like you can't. You didn't lose any self-respect unless you give it away. Unless you decide that you are not respectable, you don't give it away. Somebody who's not, and he wasn't stranded. It was his wife who was stranded. And I was telling him that, dude, a man with no respect will be so prideful, no respect for himself will be so prideful that he wouldn't ask for help in order to get his wife to where she needs to be. But a man who respects himself says, I need to do whatever the heck I need to get done in order to get my wife where from being stranded. So that's hella respect for yourself. And I told him I got respect for you for being that way, for saying that I pride be damned. My wife is stuck, and she got to get here because I can't let her be stuck. That's not happening. One of my kids called me and tell me they stuck somewhere. Oh, we about to get unstuck. I don't care who I got to beg and borrow from if there need be. We gonna get unstuck. Then he said something. You know what? He said something else. I know this is a little bit off track, but it's still, you know what? It's not, because he does not have that awakening. That's one of the things I recognize. His third eye is not functioning, because another thing he said was that he's a minister of a prominent church in Cobb County. I ain't gonna tell you the name of the church. I ain't put the name out like that. But he's a minister of a prominent church, one of the associate ministers. He's stranded on a part of town that he's fearful to ask anybody anything. Now, he was dressed like I'm dressed right now, but he was fearful to ask anybody anything because he was black and he's a predominantly white area, and he was scared. I figured they wouldn't help him. But you can't even run into me because you saw a black face on the poster, on the logo. And he says that one of the things he said is he quoted a scripture that says something to the effect of a righteous man should never go wanting or without and all this kind of stuff, right? And he was like, I'm just humiliated and ashamed. And I was like, and I told him, I said, so what you're telling me is that as a righteous man, your life never sways from good to bad, that you never have any issues or troubles or problems. I said, that's stupid. I said it just like that too, for real. I said, that's stupid. To think that way, that no person on this planet is ever going to have their pendulum swing to the left. That you're not going to vibrate, and I got to throw my hermetics in that. And I was saying, you're going to vibrate at a lower point where things aren't going as well, just because you are a minister. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. And he accepted that day. He accepted both times that I told him about his respect and about that. But he accepted it that day, and I think that it did peak his third eye to open a little bit, to see beyond what he's always believed, what he's always thought. His thought is always that a minister can never be in wanting. Well, that's stupid, because you live in a life. I'm not in. I could be in wanting today. I may not be tomorrow, but then 3 days later I may be again. It's just life. It happens. Get over it. But that doesn't mean you gotta lose your self-respect, because when you lose that, you lose yourself. Right? Now you're just going base chakras down. Right? You're not thinking up. You're not. It didn't make sense. And the fact that he couldn't ask anybody to help him, I thought that was interesting. Like, you have a fear of asking people to help. It's not like you're scamming people. Not like you. I mean, he had his ID from his job and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, bro, you don't look like somebody trying to scam somebody. So, and so what? If they say no, they just say no. They just saying no to what you're asking, not no to you. Don't take it personally. Get over it. And opening that third eye helps you to do things like that, to be able to see things in that way. I am going to get ready to close out. If you got any questions?
I was concerned about the food and the water.
Uh-huh.
How do you go about getting water and that's not poison?
Well, I'm gonna say this. This is so mean the way I'm gonna say this. Read the bottle. No, for real. You want to read the bottle. Most of the time, the bottle, the toothpaste, the mouthwash is going to tell you if there's fluoride in it. You read the ingredients, it'll say fluoride, right? Now, with water, one of the things you can look for, if it's not purified through reverse osmosis, then it got fluoride in it. If it's a natural spring water, it's got fluoride in it.
Well, the reason I said that, I asked that, is because, I mean, sometimes the stuff that you read is not always.
True, it's not always, but that's why with water, look for reverse osmosis. If you know you're drinking sodas and all that kind of stuff, it got fluoride in it. As far as food, even some of the organic stuff still got pesticide. That one is so hard, but as best you can do to be organic or fresh, go to the farmers markets. You know, you got a better shot, at least with the small farmers, than the big ones. If you have a house, grow a garden, grow some plants, or even if you don't, grow them on the balcony. You know, grow as much of your own food as you possibly can. Join with community gardens. You know, if you're doing with a community garden, then use that community garden is going to have rules as to what they can put. You know, if you're using pesticides and things like that. Like I grew grapes in my house in Florida, right? And I didn't want to put any pesticides on it. Now that meant fighting the squirrels and all them kind of stuff was difficult. I had to find natural solutions, but I found, you know, we had to find some natural solutions. Don't ask me what they were, because that was years ago, I don't remember. But, you know, the squirrels took all my sunflower seeds. All my sunflower. I only had 3 of them. I saved 3 out of 24. But you can, it's all about just researching it and studying it. I mean, finding out where the good food is. You know, who's having it, who has it. I mean, you can go, I think Whole Foods or somebody like that got in trouble recently because their labels aren't as natural as they say they are, or they don't have preservatives. But you just got to do the research on the different companies that produce your food. Definitely don't eat fast food. That stuff is just all kind of poison. Oh yeah, with the ant story, there was a McDonald's French fry down there. They ain't touched that, cause it ain't. It's not. It ain't no. I don't think there's any potato in there anywhere. But I mean, and that's the thing. It's just studying. I mean, it's research. It's reading bottles, reading labels, understanding what the things say. Like I use Tom's toothpaste, but even Tom's used to all his stuff used to be completely natural. Now he got some half. Now he got like only one of them, 1 or 2 that doesn't have fluorides, and all the rest of them got fluoride. You know. So it just and then there are certain things you can just make yourself. You know, you can like I use coconut oil for lotion. And you know, the virgin coconut oil, I use that for lotion. And I don't, some people make their own soap, some people make their own deodorants, and you can find people who make that stuff too. There are tons of, you know, online entrepreneurs who make things like that as well. It's a hassle, because it's easier just to go to Kroger, Publix, Walmart, you know, Piggly Wiggly, whatever the person got in their town. It's easier just to go and buy it because it's there, it's convenient. It takes work. It takes some dedication. And you just have to dedicate yourself to yourself. The question is, how much do you love yourself? Now I'm asking the question, how much do you love yourself? I'm asking the question, how much do you love yourself?
Enough to change the way I have it.
And your actions will prove it out as to how much you love yourself. Now you may love yourself, so like I said, there's a scale, right?
Yeah.
There's love. What's your name again, sir?
Charles.
There's Charles. There's love. I'm so, you know, in love with Charles, and then there's I hate Charles. And there's a million levels in between. You have to ask where you at. With every subject, food, where am I on my love for Charles? Exercise, where am I on my love for Charles? You know, pesticides, water, where am I at on my love for Charles? And then you have to vibrate at a high level to get yourself as close to I am completely, totally agape in love with Charles. You know, so not that you don't love yourself, just gotta love a lot more yourself. Just like when I see people, oh, I love myself, but then I love me, but I don't love me enough to be in the gym 2 hours a day, every day, and eating perfect. I don't love me that much yet. I'm working on it to love me some more like that. Because, you know, we still got a little bit. But I love me enough that for 2 weeks I haven't had any meat. Oh, no, I cheated once. Sorry. You know, I said when my friend Troy came to town, I cheated. But I love myself enough not to do that. I haven't had fast food, though, in 2 weeks. 3 weeks. I'm loving myself enough to get to that point. And that's the thing. You don't have to go from here to here in one day. if you're here, then just go right here, and then you go right here, and then you start to be able to take bigger jumps. Now once you get over here, there is the pendulum swing that'll swing you all the way back. What you have to learn how to do is recognize when your vibrational patterns start to slow down and you start to fall, and then get back on it. And if you start to fall, get back on it. So you set up like, okay, well, things ain't going right, let me get back on it. You know, like if my finances, I'm making a whole bunch of money. If I start to see that my outgo is starting to be more than my income, I need to do the things that I did to get back up here. All right, so you got to get back on your horse, right? And that way you polarize and you stay on one side. You might have your swings become smaller, you know, instead of all this. You know, I know people that go into a great relationship, horrible relationship, great relationship, horrible relationship, got a bunch of money, broke his head, got a bunch of money again, now I'm broke again, you know, just back and forth. So it's like, no, got a lot of money, lost a little bit, got a lot of money, I'm gonna stay right here, you know, love life, I'm gonna stay right here. Oh, I love this person. Oh, she get on my nerves. Oh, she don't cook no more. Oh, we don't make love no more. Oh, we don't go out no more. All this thing, you let it get way over here. When you sort of been like, oh, I love this woman, and oh, you know what? I'm starting to notice we're not dating anymore. Let's start dating again. Oh, I love this woman. I'm starting to notice we're not holding hands and intimate with her. Let's start holding hands. Oh, I love him. Let me start taking. You know, you don't wait. What you waiting way over here for? Because you get over here, y'all relationship over. You get over here, you not lost your house, lost your car. You filed bankruptcy, you in debt, staying at your grandmama's house. You know, you ain't staying at mama's house, you at grandmama's house. You know, well, stop letting yourself get over there. Polarize yourself here. But that third eye open will help to keep you polarized here. All right? Because you start recognizing things sooner. That was like a long answer to your question. All right. Well, are there any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, this will hereby end this commentary on your third eye and your opening up your pineal gland. I would, that's fine. Nah, but you guys, I hope that this, well, I don't hope, I know it benefits you, because a little bit of arrogance is my third eye. I know there's some good information, and I know it's going to be a benefit to you.
Right.
And I know I put it in ways that you can understand it. And if you can't understand it, then just ask me again. Hey, we'll talk about it again. Ain't worry about it, because this is good. This is good. This is an exchange. This is, we doing things. We moving forward. And I talked way longer than I said I was. So y'all have, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. And we're gonna end this. I appreciate all you guys on YouTube, and I'll try to come back and answer anything. Bye.
Thank you. That was good.
Yes, it was.